Meet Frankie, short for Frankenkitten. As you might have already noticed, Frankie's a little different. He has 4 ears and had to have one of his eyes removed. However, if you told him he didn't fit the norm, Frankie probably wouldn't understand you. After going through everything fate threw at him, the little guy has adapted to living in the big world, and his foster family is there to help when he gets a little overwhelmed. He was born under a suburban house to a feral mother, Frankie's owner, Georgie Anderson said. He was found with one living sibling, but there may have been more that did not survive. The homeowners took Frankie and his brother in for several weeks to socialize them and fatten them up before bringing them to the shelter for medical care and rehoming. I worked at the animal shelter at the time that Frankie came in. I was also a foster carer, so I was asked to foster him for a week as he recovered from the eye removal. The eye removal allowed him to survive, as the infection would have become septic and killed him. His 4 ears are the first things people see in him. He also has a very large overbite, which gives his face a very angular appearance. He did come into the animal shelter with 2 eyes, but one eye had ruptured and needed removing. Frankie also has joint problems in his hind legs. His knees don't sit properly in place, so he walks splay-legged and his knees often slide in and out of place. Because of the overbite, his lower canines were piercing through the roof of his mouth. He also needs his knees operated on to stabilize the joints, but I am saving the money for that. It's quite expensive, Georgie said. He has also had dental work done to cut his lower canines to just a few millimeters above the gum line. I went and saw him prior to his procedure and right away was struck by how sweet-natured he was. After a few hours of having him home in recovery, I knew he was special in a way I couldn't quite describe. The physical aspect of his condition has some impact on his everyday life. The little front ears mildly affect his directional hearing, as they almost act like little earmuffs to his proper ears. He has adjusted well to only having one eye, but I can tell his night vision is not as good as my other cats. His legs cause him to walk splay-legged but don't cause pain or affect the way he plays or jumps. His mouth probably is the biggest physical factor. He struggles to eat wet food because he can't get a good grasp on it. He is on a dry food-only diet and has learned to pick kibble with his tongue and bring it into his mouth that way, rather than using his teeth. A normal day for Frankie is picking different places to curl up and sleep, ambushing me every morning while I make breakfast. He likes to try and climb up my leg and then darts off like a lunatic. Playing with his brother Lucius Malfoy. Annoying his older siblings Monaco and Toothless. He sleeps a bit more, a lot more. Then annoys the dogs. His personality is very cheeky, but he gets away with it because he is also very sweet. He is not overly intelligent, which has been a noticed trait in some other cats with 4 ears. I doubt he would fare well outside. He would see a car and think it was something to play with. But he is so loving and affectionate and seems to sense when I have had a difficult day. I almost would say he has a dog-like personality. Frankie is living proof that the beauty of a pet lies within it. He and his humans are lucky to have each other, and something tells me everything's gonna be just fine. This is a story about a cat who tried his best to get by. However, life threw more at him than the little buddy could handle, so there was just one thing left for him to do: knock on doors, asking for help. On Valentine's Day, a woman heard strange sounds coming from her backyard. She went there to investigate and found an orange tabby, standing in the snow and pawing at her door. Meowing. The woman took a picture and contacted Marie Simard, the founder of Un Chat à la Fois, a kitten rescue in Quebec, Canada. It broke my heart to see him, so I told her to take the cat to the vet, and not even 30 minutes later, he was at our partner clinic, Simard said. He went into the carrier by himself, and once he got to the vet, he was very easygoing. He let the vet do the checkup, the blood test and x-rays. The cat was not feral at all, Simard added. She named the cat Aslan, in honor of the lion in the Chronicles of Narnia series. We thought he was a lost cat because he was just too friendly to be born outside. He didn't have a microchip and was not neutered. We assumed he was left behind by irresponsible owners. We have many cats left behind by people that cannot afford to pay the vet care. We checked everywhere for a missing cat but we found nothing. Aslan had rotten teeth, frostbite, a bite wound, he was bleeding somewhere on his body, fleas, worms, he had diabetes and skin allergy. His blood work was very bad and he had to stay hospitalized a few days so he could be stabilized before going to his foster family. He got surgery for his rotten teeth. He also had issues with his eyes, which were taken care of with surgery. The vet said Aslan was so sick and exhausted, he would not have survived the winter if he hadn't received immediate attention. Aslan was really grateful to the people who answered his meow for help. Samard said he was very nice to the staff at the clinic and would stick his paw out of the cage so people could pet him. All the love and care have helped the kitty's health tremendously. In a few days, Aslan got better and was ready to finish his recovery at a foster home. Once Aslan was fine and ready for a family, Samard told his foster parents it was time for her to post Aslan's adoption form so people could apply. But Aslan's foster mom told her right away that he already found his family and she would like him to stay with her. Samard agreed. He had become friends with two rescue cats, Cleo and Jasmine. Jasmine sadly passed away, but Aslan is very close to Cleo. Aslan has a special diet due to his diabetes, but he likes food. In fact, his mom needs to closely watch her own plates because Aslan would not hesitate to steal her food. Sometimes, she makes an exception and gives him a treat. Aslan is a very affectionate cat. He forgot his outdoor life, he doesn't try to go outside. He likes to sleep on her pillow and he likes to cuddle. I think most of us have witnessed a sad situation in movies where a child got stood up at their birthday party. However, sometimes situations like this do happen in real life, as unfortunate as it sounds. Recently a story like this happened at Battersea Brands Hatch in Kent, England. A 5-year-old dog named Luke has been in the shelter for the last 6 months. The pooch had an adoption party prepared especially for him on Valentine's Day on the 14th of February with the hope of getting him a forever home. However, as nice of an idea as it was, no one showed up for the party and poor Luke remains in the shelter to this day, still looking for his soulmate. The shelter has put up Luke's profile on their website, and here's what it says. Adorable Luke is looking for a home that will supply him with a bed near a radiator and a supply of soft toys. Luke arrived at Battersea as a stray, so we have no history of his previous life. While Luke has made friends with all the staff, he does have a sensitive side and can be worried about new people initially. New owners must let Luke settle into the home and introduce him to people slowly. You will know when Luke is comfortable as he loves nothing more than leaning in for a fuss and laying across your lap. He will need owners who are experienced in owning large, nervous breeds before. We have found on-site Luke is worried and intolerant of other dogs. He relies on his handler for guidance and support when meeting other dogs, so his new owners must have experience in this and be able to read Luke's body language to be able to tell when he is uncomfortable. Luke will need to be kept on a leash when out on walks, so it's very important he has his own private and secure garden where he can have some off-lead time. Due to this, Luke's new home will need to be in a quiet location in an area which is not highly dog populated. Owners must be confident in handling Luke and continue his clicker training. Luke will need a home with multiple carers who will be able to build up his time spent alone gradually. We feel could live with older sensible teenagers, but he would need to be the only pet in his new home. Luke can also be sensitive when being handled around his ears. He has had some treatment while at Battersea, which will be discussed with potential adopters. But owners should be confident in continuing some positive association should he need this again in the future. However, despite having a few quirks, Luke still has a lot of love to offer and is absolutely worth it if given a proper chance.